Good morning, grade 10s. It's me again, Hector S. Nkosi. We are here for accounting. For those who are just joining us today, welcome to our exciting accounting class. Today, we'll be looking at internal controls. So, this is our lesson 3 for today, since we have started with grade 10 accounting as African Teen Geek. If you've got any questions, please feel free to always email me at nkosihector28@gmail.com. Also, if you've got any questions relating to what we are doing currently, there are things that you are not unsure of, you can always communicate with me or with us, the rest of the class, on the chat box. And also, I really appreciate your participation, guys. Yesterday, it was so exciting for me to teach you, because I love the manner on which you participate in this class. Okay, so now I want us to go through internal controls. It will probably take us 10 to 15 minutes. Then after internal controls, I would like us to look at business concepts, basically. Before we start with any calculations, guys, I want to push theory first and make you to understand about everything, guys. So I know majority of you, I'm sure, are asking, when are we starting to calculate, to do transaction, to do CPJ, CRJ, to do different types of journals and stuff like that. I know, and I've noted that. Don't worry. I am going to do all those things with you when the time is right. Now, I want to give you basics on accounting before we can start with any of the calculations. So I need to give you the background because, you're in grade 10. This is your first grade where you are being taught accounting formally. I know in grade 7, 8, and 9, you guys did what you call, you guys did EMS, and but accounting was not into detail. You did half of business studies, half of economics, half of EMS. Half of accounting. So now you're doing accounting as a whole. So I'll please allow me to go step by step with you, basically. So the need for internal control, basically, we know what are internal controls, guys. Basically, internal controls are systems or procedures that are put in place to monitor various activities in the business so that any losses are reduced or avoided altogether. Um, we do have internal controls. Why do we need internal control as a business? In a business, losses may occur due to theft, damage, and errors. As a result, a business needs to have various procedures in place so that checks uh, take place on a daily basis. So basically, if you've got internal control, um, you are avoiding or you are trying to mitigate any risks that may happen in a business. Like, for instance, we do have internal controls at school, right? So the internal controls at school, we know who, like, for example, if I were to give an example with the school, what are the internal controls for a school? We know that, okay, the sign-in time for learners, let's say it's 8 o'clock. There's a bell that tells us that we need to go back to the classroom. There's a bell that tells us that now it's break time. There's a timetable that is being set. There are gates at the school so that they can lock, so that even if everyone is at their respective classes, kids will always feel safe. Even if there's a visitor at school, there must be a security on the gate so that uh, he or she can take the visitor's details in terms of driver's license, scanning their car and stuff like that. So all of those guys are internal controls. Remember, the word internally means inside, control is how you manage something, basically. So there are internal controls everywhere, guys. Businesses, service providers, wherever, guys, there are internal controls. to protect whatever theft or damage or any errors that may occur. So if these procedures are done every day, many of the possible losses will be identified in times, and steps can be taken to avoid them happening. So guys, remember, you need to know your internal controls, right? They love these guys. You won't finish an accounting paper, I'm telling you, from grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, they always ask internal controls. So it's very important for you to know your internal controls, because how do they ask in an exam? Normally, what they do, they'll be like to you, okay, the business A and B does this and that and that. Um, uh, the owner is lacking on what. Um, the stuff, okay, maybe the stock has been stolen on virus time and stuff like that. Then the examiner can be like to you, give us or what internal controls can the business implement, basically. So you need to think deep and see that, okay, they did not do this. If they've done this, therefore it was going to avoid that. So it's very important to know your internal controls. So what is an internal control? I've already explained it, but let me just go through it once more again. Internal control is the system or procedures that are put in place to monitor various activities in the business so that any losses are reduced or avoided or mitigated altogether. At the end of the day, however, all goals have one aim: to safeguard our belongings, whether is it cash, stock, vehicles, or equipment, so that the business can operate at a maximum efficiency, basically, right? So bear in mind that internal controls, they're very important. Now, here we are talking about the purpose of the internal control. What is the purpose? Why must we implement an internal control? What is the reason? Basically, the other word for purpose, it's the reason. What is the reason for a business to have an internal control? Firstly, is to identify areas where the accepted procedure is not being carried out. For example, um, an example of this is when the cashier who's operating the cash register is expected to lock the cash. So that's in one of the internal control, right? Another point that we can look at, so that management can see when the time and resources are being wasted also. So it's also important to implement internal control so that we can see whether the management can see when the time and resources are being wasted. In a manufacturing concern, internal controls will identify if materials are being wasted during the manufacturing process. So that's where they see the wastage and stuff. Also, to safeguard assets. Uh, I did make this example with the school, that you guys are an asset to the school. Like, school learners are assets to the school, guys, because you know what, they control you guys. You guys are belonging to that school basically for the 12 years, of which is more than 1 year. So you are an asset. So basically, to safeguard assets also, meaning that I make it an example that the school must try, as long as you are in their premises, they must try by all means to protect you guys. That's why there's a security. That's why if there's a visitor coming to your school, they have to sign in the login book. Uh, Everything, guys. That's why there's a bell to control that, okay, now I need to go back to an English class. There's a bell that now I need to go to an accounting class and stuff like that, right? So these are measures to put in place to prevent assets from being stolen or lost or damaged, e.g., locking our vehicles away in a garage for overnight, right? If you are a business, obviously, these are the purposes of internal controls for what? For businesses, guys, because remember, we are doing accounting. So we need to relate everything to businesses. Also, the purpose of internal controls to find errors Internal control procedures can identify if we are being overcharged by the bank or creditor, right? Also to expose fraud, right? Because the more we are controlling internally, the more we think this is theft committed by someone with the business environment. Internal control can, for instance, for his own use, right? So basically, we did speak about fraud yesterday when we were doing uh, ethics, right? So bear in mind with those. Then now here we've got accounting controls. The following are some of the accounting controls that can be put in place, right? So remember now, if you want accounting controls now, the duties are designed to employees in such a way that everybody knows who is responsible and accountable for a various activities. So here, normally we call it division of duties. Basically, guys, the same person who's receiving cash and recording cash cannot be the same person who can go and deposit the cash to the bank. You know, it needs to be a different person. Do you get my point? So duties needs to be assigned to each and every employee, basically. So no wonder this example transaction should be properly recorded. The duties are recorded should give one person less opportunity from theft from the business. Guys, it's very important to have proper internal controls as a business. Because now, if I'm doing all the one job, you know, do you agree with me, guys, that I can still cash? Because now, if now there's no there's no a chain. No wonder even at school, guys, how can I put other internal controls at school? You know, I'm sure yeah, plus now you are in grade 10. Basically, now they are moderating the school. Maybe the teacher will choose 3 books from you guys, right? Will be like, can I please have a book for John, book for Cabello, book for Karabo, you know? So maybe he or she can ask for 3 books, and all your assessments, they will be filed for 3 people. So basically now, the Department of Education, when comes, they are coming to check whether your teacher marked correctly, whether your teacher did not give you any marks that you're not supposed to get. So as much as your teacher, he or she is in control with everything, there still needs to be someone from outside who's going to verify that his or her marking was up to date. So that's another internal control that the school does. Here it says cash received should be deposited daily so that the large amounts of cash are kept on the premises. Changes in procedures must be authorized by senior management. Documents must be pre-numbered so that every document can be accounted for, basically. Those are accounting controls. So the following security measures could be put in place. So these are things that they can be put in place, boys and girls. So storerooms should have locks with keys being available only to authorized people. Large amounts of password for the computer system. The business should have a register for all assets, regular checks on assets and ensure that all assets on register can be accounted for. Security measures such as cameras or security guards could be introduced in order to prevent shoplifting. Gate control for all vehicles entering and leaving the premises, basically, right? Okay, guys, these are your internal controls. I did say that it will only take us 15 minutes. However, I want us to start with business concepts. Remember, I said after internal controls, I want us to start with business concepts. So now, with your business concepts now, guys, I won't finish this. We will, however, finish it tomorrow. Yeah, we'll finish it tomorrow. So now we have dealt with internal the week where I said it's not examinable, but it's the things that you need to know. So when you are ethical, meaning that you are behaving in the right way. When I'm saying you are unethical, which means you are behaving in a bad way, right? Then today we looked at internal controls. We know that in a business, we need to place some internal controls. We said internal controls are measures put in place, right? Now I want us to look at the business concepts. So the whole of this week, guys, up until next week, Tuesday, we'll be actually looking at theory for accounting. Then from next week, Wednesday, we'll start with calculations. We'll start with cash transactions. I'll take you step by step how to do accounting equation, how to do your GJ, how to do all those things. Basically, I'm going to show you step by step, right? So now it says, why open a business? Why people open business? Why people they start up a business, basically, right? So in a business, if a businessman has money to invest, he has a choice. He can invest it in a bank or other financial institution, right? So we know now, guys, we've got Bitcoin, we've got Forex and stuff. Other people, they invest in Bitcoin. Other people, they invest in bank, like your any bank you can think of. So basically now, here they say financial institution, any other, they speak about any other things that you can invest in. If he does this, he can expect to receive interest from the financial institution. On the other hand, he may choose to invest this money in a business. We know other people, they invest money in a business. Remember also other financial institution, it can be you investing in buying shares in a certain company, you are investing, right? The advantage of investing in a business is that the chances of making a large amount of money is greater than if invested in the bank, basically. Because now remember, if I'm starting a business of selling cold drinks, I know that everyone likes cold drink. Majority of the country or of the people, they like cold drinks, So I can rather start a cold drink company, or I can open a shop where I sell drinks only, knowing that who's my target, how much profit will I make. Unlike me going to put money into the bank that will mature for 5 years or for 10 years, only I'll get an interest of as little as my daily profit. So can you see, it won't be making any sense. But other people, they still make invest in financial institutions because it's less riskier also, because now business is more risky. What if, like now, since there is coronavirus, some of the businesses, they were what you call, they were running at a loss because now of this unforeseen pandemic that we are facing, you know. So that's a sad part of business, that okay, it has its advantages and disadvantages. Like for instance, let's say you are in a business of soft drink or ice cream. We know in winter, yes, people they may eat ice cream, but it's not a target in winter. Do you get my point? We can only eat ice cream when it is spring or summer, you know, because our bodies are hot. We need something cold. Whereas in winter, it's a vice versa. Our bodies are what? Are cold. We need something hot, basically. So it's very pointless, you know, to ice cream and soft drinks companies. They don't make so much money during winter because winter we drink soups, um, we do anything that will make us warm, basically, right? Then it says a disadvantage of investing in a business is that there is also a chance that the businessman can lose his money. Like now, guys, it's coronavirus. Now it's winter. We are in June. You know, some businesses they know already that I around June, because I'm selling cold drink or ice cream, I don't make so much money. You know, also now since it's coronavirus, some of the business they can't operate at all because there are things or there are products or services that they are not regarded as essentials. So they will be opened as soon as this coronavirus ends. So it is very important, guys, to look uh, at those things. And remember, in a business, you always have pros and cons. You know, there is no business that says is 100%. There must be a disadvantage and an advantage always. Then it says in a bank, there is a virtual no chance that he could lose his money. As I said earlier on, it's very rare that in a bank, actually, there's no chance that you can lose your money in a bank. As long as your bank is registered in a stock exchange, therefore, it's very rare that you can lose money. However, the interest that you might be getting at the bank will be very lower than getting a profit in a business, basically. So can you see it's a 50-50 thing, but having a business will increase more profit from your side, basically. Now, I want us to look at the role of accounting in a business. Remember, most businesses are formed with the main purpose. What is the main purpose? To make a profit, boys and girls. Because our main purpose in a business is to make a profit. There is no other way. Why do you do a business? Because you want to make cash, you want to make money, you know. And a profit is the balance between the business income, of which those are your sales and expenses. So now the profit is like, what is your income less your expenses, you'll get your profit. Remember now, guys, in order for you to get a profit, we'll be like, okay, I've made so much money, but maybe what are my expenses? I need to pay for the stock that I bought. I need to pay for transport. I need to pay for electricity. I need to pay for so whatever is left will be regarded as a gain because that's what you have made after paying everything basically that you have spent on. The role of accounting is to record transactions so that the owner will be able to calculate if he made a profit, basically, right? Now, types of businesses, right? There are three types of businesses. Profit-making businesses are divided into three groups. You've got a service business that earns income by rendering a service, right? You've got a trading business that earns income by buying and selling goods. You've got a manufacturing business that earns income by producing goods. Remember, guys, once you go to a dentist, you go to a doctor, uh, let's say you need a lawyer, those people will be regarded as a service business because now they are only rendering a service to you guys. If you need a plumber, maybe your tap is not working at home, that person does not sell things to you. There's no tangible things that you can touch, but they are rendering you a service. A hairdresser also, a doctor also. We know other people like your makeup artist. It's your service business basically, guys, because that person gives you his or her service, but you don't get anything tangible in return. Only in a trading business, that's where you'll get something tangible afterwards. Because here it's when you go to your supermarkets where you'll be like, I want to buy lotion, I want to buy pills, I want to buy groceries, I want to buy furniture. All those things you can see and touch them. Those things are tangible. Therefore, once you are selling tangible things, you are regarded as trading business, right? Because at the pharmacy you can get certain medication, certain pills, whatever that you need, or toiletry. All those things are tangible. Pet shop, let's say you've got a pet, you can go buy the food there, the chain or what, grocery shop also, if you need groceries, all those things are tangible. Those things, they will be regarded as trading business. Now let's look at the manufacturing business. Now it's when we do things from scratch. Your bakery, they bake the bread from scratch, right? They do the mixing of flour, they do mixing of everything, right? The business that earns income by producing goods. So a manufacturing business is the business that takes something as a raw material and make it to a final product. So it's another type of business. So if I say to you, please name 3 types of businesses that are making profit. So you need to know it's a service business, we've got a trading business, you've got manufacturing business. Now, are people involved in a business? We know that one thing first, the owner is the founder of the business, right? The owner is involved. The bank is involved because sometimes, guys, we do borrow a loan from the bank. Sometimes, what we do, we go bank after making a certain money per week or per day. We must go bank at the bank. So the financial institution where the business has opened a current account or check account, deposit money, and makes payment. We have customers are also involved in the business. People who buy goods and services from the business. We need very, very important. We need an accountant or bookkeeper, someone who, especially if we've got if we've got a big business, someone who write everything down and say, okay, these are our sales for this month. We need to pay so much electricity. We need to do so much and stuff like that. This is very, very important, guys. A business without an accountant or a bookkeeper, it's like a garden without roses, guys. Very important, guys. Roses or flowers, right? The business who records, the person who records all the transactions of the business, basically. You need creditors, guys. Remember, sometimes we do run at a loss. So sometimes creditors are the people that the business owes, basically. So if, let's say, I don't have cash now, but I need more stock, I need to notify my creditor that, look, I need so much stock. I'll pay you after 60 days or after 30 days. Then the creditor will do something for me and my stock will get delivered on time. The people from whom the owner buys goods on credit, the business receives the goods now and pays them later, basically. The business owes the creditor money, right? Okay, guys, I want us to end, okay, before debtors also and staff workers. We know that debtors are customers who buy goods on credit and receive goods now and pay them later. The debtors owe the business money. You also need your staff or workers. Without those people, guys, your business cannot function because the people who work for the business, they earn salaries and wages. Okay, I want you guys to do this as part of the homework. you can take a screenshot, or you can take a picture, or you can whatever thing. But I want you guys to do this as your homework. First thing tomorrow, we'll be marking this, guys. So it's to match column A with a correct item in column B. Use the answer sheet provided. So this is the match the column basically. Please, guys, I'm only giving you a minute or so to take a picture of this, or to, if you're using a phone, you can screenshot this activity one. First thing tomorrow, I want us guys to mark it. Then we'll continue with our business concept. Okay, boys and girls, thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. That's from me today. You guys must have a lovely afternoon. Goodbye.
Okay, you can start your video first. Hello.